of this chapter number 2, that is the cell division, and then 2 we are dealing with meiosis. Okay, next let's recall, like we have done till now for this particular chapter, is energy from different food components and types of cell division. So what it includes: energy from different food components includes the we have discussed about carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, vitamins, and water. So let's have a quick recap about each of them. Carbohydrates, these are the major source of energy from our diet, and it is composed of the elements like carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It is also called saccharides, which means sugars. Saccharides like monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, polysaccharides, we have discussed each and everything in detail in our previous sessions. Then proteins. As we know, these proteins are nothing but the building block of our body. But how we define them? The proteins are the most abundant organic molecules of the living system. They constitute about 50% of the cellular dry weight. They constitute the fundamental basis of structure and function of life. Oh, this is very important. This is basic functional and structural unit. Then we have third one is lipid. Lipids may be regarded as an organic substances. What do you mean by organic? Which contains the carbon is called as organic. Relatively insoluble in water and soluble in organic solvents. We have discussed about organic solvents also. Okay. So actually or potentially related to the fatty acids and utilized by the living cells. So these fatty acids are required by the living cells. And then we have vitamins. Vitamins are organic compounds necessary in small amounts for the normal growth and function of humans and some animals. As we know, the carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, we need them comparatively in a larger amount. Okay. And carbohydrate is easily available, it is easily accessible, palatable, right? So that is the one of the main consumed kind of food type that we have. These are the carbohydrates. But then too, we required some vitamins in traces. Okay, we have discussed about vitamin A, B, C, K, and all. Okay, also we have discussed about the their deficiencies. Okay, what would be the deficiencies if you don't take even these traced amount vitamins? And about the water, water, as we know, this is the basic requirement of our life, even than the food. So all the cellular activities takes place with the help of water. So hence the water is so much essential. Then types of cell division. Mitosis we have discussed in detail in our third session, like prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. And now today's session we are going to see both the phases of meiosis. Meiosis phase number 1 and phase 2. Mitosis. It is a process of the cell duplication in which one cell divides into two genetically identical daughter cells. Mark this word, two genetically identical. In the various stages of mitosis, the cell's chromosomes are copied and then distributed equally between the two new nuclei of the daughter cells. Equal distribution of the alleles, that means the chromosomes, and this is copied one and it distributed equally between the two newly formed nuclei of the daughter cells. That all comes in that mitosis. Okay. Then what is meiosis? Meiosis is the type of cell division that reduces. See, here we have what? The reduction. The word reduction is important in meiosis. Reduces the number of chromosomes in the parent cell. How? By half, and produces the four gamete cells. This process is required to produce egg and sperm cells for sexual reproduction. Then why do we require this one? Why do we require these four gamete cells? Because this will leads to the, it will help to help in reproduction, in a sexual reproduction. So meiosis begins with the parent cell that is diploid. That means having a perfect cell of set of chromosome that is in pairs. That's why it is diploid, meaning it has two copies of each chromosome. Just now, as I told you. Okay, the chromosomes are in pair. That means diploid. But in meiosis, we'll reduce down the number. That becomes the haploid, and here we get the egg cells and sperm cells through this process of meiosis. So why meiosis is required for the production of the gametes, which are haploid in nature? Why mitosis is required? For your maintenance of the body, repair, and the growth and development of the somatic cells. What do you mean by somatic cells? Your body cells. Okay. And here meiosis, we have uh, egg and sperm cells, that are reproductive cells. That is the basic difference. Here you can see the four stages that we have already discussed, which ends with the cytokinesis, where we have prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and at the end, the cycle ends with the cytokinesis. That is the division kinesis that takes place in the cytoplasm. Meiosis also is here you can see with the help of diagrams. We'll discuss that in later. Don't worry. Okay. So before we start with the actual meiosis process, I would like to give you some brief idea about each and every concept which comes under these two phases. The first one is a recombination in meiosis. Recombination means what? We are combining with something. Recombination. What is that? Let us see. Recombination occurs when two molecules of DNA exchange pieces of their genetic material with each other. So here which word is important? The exchange of the piece of genetic material. Okay. One of the most notable example of the recombination takes place during the meiosis. Oh, one of the most, that is the whatever the crossing over that will come later on, but this recombination, this exchange of genetic material is prominently found in meiosis. Okay, so when homologous chromosomes line up in pairs and swap these segments of DNA. Now, what do you mean by the homologous chromosomes? You must be thinking about. These are the two pieces of DNA within a diploid organism. That means having a perfect set of chromosomes, which carry the same gene, one from each parent source. In simpler terms, you can say both of your parents provide a complete genome, that means complete genetic material, and the we can say the information. Each parent provides the same 23 chromosomes and which encodes the same gene. Okay, 23 chromosomes encodes the same gene. That means for particular functioning of or development or of particular organ. Okay, so that will be having the similar kind of information from maternal and paternal sides. That is 23 chromosomes from each parent. Okay, so in one or two words we can say which is having the genes which are having the same genetic information or which encodes the same gene. Okay, these are called as a homologous chromosomes. So as we were talking about the recombination meiosis is nothing but the exchange of piece of their genetic material with each other. Next we have the crossing over. Crossing over, just a minute. In crossing over, it is the process of exchange of the genetic material or segments between the non-sister chromatids. Again, here something like exchange. Okay, but before that we need to understand what is non-sister chromatid. Of two homologous chromosomes. Just now we have talked about the homologous chromosome. So thus a mechanism does exist by which a group of genes on the same chromosome changes with the similar group of genes on the homologous chromosome. Again, exchange over, crossing over, exchanging the material. But what? But the similar type of gene they are exchanging, crossing over mechanism. By a group of genes on the same chromosome changes with the similar group of genes. So, on the homologous chromosomes. as I was talking about the non-sister chromatids. These non-sister chromatids are nothing but the chromatids of homologous chromosomes. Okay, the chromatids which are present on the homologous chromosomes are called as non-sister chromatids. Here you can see the homologous chromosomes. That orange one from the paternal, this is pink one, the dark pink, that from the maternal. Okay, homologous pair of chromosomes. See the replications it happen. Then the sister chromatids of the paternal chromosomes and sister chromatids of the maternal chromosome. The same type of gene is exchanged. A sister chromatid refers to the identical copies formed by the DNA replication of a chromosome. Okay, identical copies are formed with both the copies joined together by the common centromere. We will go back to the previous slide. Here you can see the exactly the another one, the orange part of this chromosome is created over here. Here also one pink part, the pink half, exactly the same type of we can say the type of chromosome is formed there, and these two are connected with each other with the centromere. Okay, the centromere which is at the center of this chromosome, which is formed after the replication. So, in other words, a sister chromatid may also be said to be the one half of the duplicated chromosome. Okay, chromatid is again was it's a one half of duplicated chromosome. A pair of sister chromatid is called as a tad. Next, what are the haploid cells? Our next concept is haploid cells. We have seen about what is crossing over mechanism, what is the recombination. In short, it is nothing but the exchange of genetic material which encodes the same gene on the particular that chromosome, and these chromosomes are what? The homologous chromosomes. Okay, please remember all these terms. Then we have haploid cells. What are the haploid cells? It describes a cell that contains a single set of chromosomes. Okay, the term haploid can refer to the number of chromosomes in egg or sperm cells, which are also called gametes. In humans, the gametes are haploid cells that contains 23 chromosomes, each of which are one of the chromosome pair that exist in the diploid cell. So you have to remember two things. The haploid cells are nothing but in humans we have gametes, and haploid that means a single set of chromosomes. They are not present in pairs. Now let's see what is diploid. Diploid describes a cell that contains the two copies of each chromosome. Yes, opposite of that haploid, there was only a single copy, but here we have a pair. The only exception is a cell in the germline which go on to produce the gametes or egg and sperm cell. The germline cells are haploid, which means they contain the single set of chromosomes. Only this is the exception. So now exactly we will start with our today's topic, that is meiosis. Before I start, again I will recap the recombination, crossing over, what is haploid, what is diploid, then non-sister chromatid and homologous chromosomes. So just have a track with these basic concepts so it will be easy to understand what is meiosis. Sister chromatid recombination, that is we call it as a SCR, is potentially error-free pathway for the repair of the double-strand breaks arising during replication, and is thought to be important for the prevention of the genomic instability and cancer. Yeah. So again, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, whatever is described in our textbook, we have a few more concepts. Okay, let us see those concepts again. First one is a gamete formation. Gametes are formed through meiosis, that is reduction division, that we already cleared just now, in which a germ cell undergoes two fusions. Fusions, that means breaking, fusions, resulting in the production of four gametes. During fertilization, male and female gamete fuse and producing a diploid zygote, that means containing the paired chromosome. Yes, but obvious. One from the paternal side, one from the one gamete from the maternal side both the gametes are haploid in nature. After the fertilization, two haploid cells, that is from the N condition, we get the zygote, okay, in a diploid stage, that is 2N condition. Okay, so how this is the way we get the gametes. Requirement. Two parents are needed in sexual reproduction, that during this process the nuclei of the male and female gametes are fused in order to create a zygote. This process is known as fertilization. Gametes contain half the number of chromosomes of all other cells in organism. Why these are important? Why so? Gametes are the cells which are used during sexual reproduction to produce a new individual organism or zygote. The male gamete sperm is a smaller, mobile cell that meets up with the much larger and less mobile female gamete, that is egg or the ova. Both sperm and egg are only haploid cells. They only carry half of the chromosomes which is needed. So in this case, we require this gamete formation. Why it is important? Here you can see with the help of diagrammatic presentation how these gametes are formed. 46 chromosomes, that is 23 pairs at father side, same in mother side. Okay, first division we get them into 23, 23, and at the second division, as we talked about, there are two fusions just in our previous slide. At this stage we get them of four haploid cells. So from this we get the four haploid cells from both the sides. Now, like that, we were talking about the sexual reproduction and how the gametes are formed just because of the meiosis, that is the haploid cells production, or we can say the haploid cells are formed. But we have to talk about and think about the another side, that is a asexual reproduction, or the some other organisms where this spore formation also takes place with the same type of process. So let us see what is spore formation. Spore formation is a method of asexual reproduction. Spores are unicellular reproductive bodies present in a sac called as a sporangia. When spores mature, sporangia burst and spores are carried to different locations by air, wind, water, and when spores fall on a suitable ground, they germinate and develop the new individual. Okay, this is about the spore formation. Let us see with the help of diagram. Here you can see the spores are in a dotted form into that circular structure, that is sporangia. Then here you can see the slender attachments which are hyphae. And once it is gets burst, this sporangia gets burst, then this disperse the spores everywhere, and from then we get the new rhizopus. This is a spore formation rhizopus. This is one of the example. Okay. Next, spore formation in meiosis. Why we are discussing about the spore formation? Even though it's a part of an asexual reproduction, we have unicellular things are involved in it. As previously we were talking about the set of chromosomes, 23 chromosomes, two fusions, and all other things. There we discuss about the meiosis. Why this spore? How this spore formation and meiosis are related? These spores are usually haploid, okay, and unicellular, and are produced by meiosis in the sporangium of diploid sporophyte. Under the favorable condition, the spore can develop into a new organism using mitotic division. Okay, so producing a multicellular gametophyte, which eventually goes on to produce the gametes. So in this slide, we have two new concepts. One is gametophyte and another one is sporophyte. Now what is sporophyte? It is a asexual and usually diploid phase which is producing these spores from which the gametophytes arise. Okay. And what are the gametophytes? These are the sexual phase in a life cycle of the plants. Haploid multicellular organisms that develop from the haploid spores. Okay, haploid multicellular organism that develops from the haploid spores. So in short, gametophyte, it's one of the sexual phase in the life cycle of the plant, and sporophyte is usually a asexual and usually it is diploid phase. Okay, gametophyte is haploid phase and sporophyte it's a diploid phase. Gametophyte is a sexual phase of the plant. Sporophyte is a asexual phase of the plant. Okay, that's it. You have to remember. Next, spore forming organisms. Which are there? Reproductive spores were found to be formed in a eukaryotic organism, such as plants, algae, and fungi, during their normal reproductive life cycle. Dormant spores are formed, for example, by certain fungi and algae, primarily in response to unfavorable growing conditions. Okay, so plants, algae, and fungi, some of the eukaryotic examples we have here. Now we need to understand few of the questions which are posed in front of us. Why are gametes produced by meiosis? Why meiosis, not something else? Meiosis only occurs in reproductive cells. This is one of the main reasons. As the goal is to create the haploid gamete that will be used in fertilization, meiosis is important too, but not the same as sexual reproduction. Meiosis is necessary for sexual reproduction to occur. Then only sexual reproduction can happen. Okay, as it results in the formation of gametes. So we can say meiosis is not the sexual reproduction, but meiosis is required to be happen. Then why? Because it is necessary for the sexual reproduction. In that way, this meiosis is much more having much more importance. Now, types of haploid cells in humans. We have discussed, then also we will go through once. Haploid is the quality of a cell or organism having a single set of chromosomes. Organisms that reproduce asexually are haploid. Sexually reproducing organisms are diploid, having two sets of chromosomes, one from each parent. In humans, only their egg and sperm cells are haploid. Okay. Now, diploid cells are somatic cells, that means our body cells, contain two complete copies of each chromosome within the cell nucleus. The two copies of one chromosome pair up and are called homologous chromosomes. Okay. Diploid cells are produced by the mitosis, that is, we have seen the prophase and all those phases till telophase, and then cytokinesis is the last, this is the end part of it, and then we get a two daughter nuclei, right? So, and the daughter cells are exactly replicas of the parent cells in the case of diploid cells. Here you can see the meiosis, the same diagram which is given in our textbook. We have four phases: prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, and telophase 1. But this prophase 1 contains again the five sub stages. Just for your kind information and just to know their names, okay, we are not going to study them in detail, which is not required at this stage. But for the first stage is a leptotene, okay, that the one is a leptotene. Second one is a zygotene. Third one is a picatinine, and fourth one that you can say is a diplotene, and the fifth one is a dikinases. Okay, so these are some of the five phases of the prophase 1. Then we have metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1. We are going to see them in detail. Meiosis part 1. Meiosis is a completed through two stages. Those two stages are meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. In meiosis 1, the recombination or the crossing over occur between homologous chromosomes. The entire this given sentence, or you can say a line in our textbook, we have discussed in detail. Recombination, crossing over, and homologous. And thereafter, those homologous chromosomes, they are non-sister chromatids, are divided into two groups, and thus two haploid cells are formed. As I told you, we are going to see all these stages in detail. The prophase 1 of the meiosis 1 is a process that involves the five different stages during which the genetic material in the form of alleles, that means in the form of the alleles mean genes, which is crosses over and recombines to form non-identical haploid chromatids. Prophase 1 is the first stage of the meiosis 1, which is followed by prophase 2, anaphase 1, anaphase 2, metaphase 1, and metaphase 2. Okay. Definition of the metaphase 1. The first metaphase of the meiosis 1 encompasses the alignment of the paired chromosomes along the center of the cell. This is important. What it happened exactly at the metaphase 1? Alignment of the paired chromosomes along the center of the cell, ensuring two complete copies of chromosomes are present in the resulting two daughter cells of meiosis 1. Whatever daughter cells will get it, they will be having the complete copies of the chromosome. Okay, so this metaphase 1 follows the prophase 1 and precedes the anaphase 1. So these are the coming stages they have discussed in the last lines. Then anaphase 1. Anaphase 1 is the third stage of meiosis 1 and follows the prophase 1 and metaphase 1. This stage is characterized by the movement of chromosomes to both the poles of meiotic cell via microtubules network known as the spindle apparatus. This mechanism separates the homologous chromosomes into two separate groups, microtubules. Now, what are the microtubules? Okay, as in the last session, as I told you, what is microtubules? Microtubules are nothing but the cytoskeletal structure which provides the shape and structure to the eukaryotic cells. So via these microtubule network, as known as the spindle apparatus, this mechanism takes place and it separates the homologous chromosomes, whereas this stage is characterized by the movement of the chromosome to both the poles. This is important. Okay, movement of the chromosomes to both the poles. Via how? Through the microtubules. What are the microtubules? This provides the structure and shape to the cell or to the eukaryotic cells. And this entire process of the mechanism separates what? The homologous chromosomes into two groups. That happens in the anaphase. Then telophase 1. Telophase 1 is that phase when the chromosomes have finished moving to the opposite ends of the cell. Similarly, as in mitosis, the telophase is the last stage. Like that, meiosis phase 1, we have telophase 1. This will then be followed by the cytokinases. Like in mitosis, we were having the cytokinases after the karyokinases, which is producing the two daughter cells. After cytokinases, the two daughter cells would have genetically different chromosomes after meiosis 1. Okay, genetically different chromosomes. We'll see about the meiosis 2. In meiosis 2, again we have prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, and telophase 2. In meiosis phase 1, we were having prophase 1 and its a subtypes into 5 stages. But here we have just a single type. Now, what is meiosis 2? Meiosis 2 is just like mitosis. Okay, it just like mitosis. Remember the mitosis. So, what happens in this stage? The two haploid daughter cells formed in the meiosis 1 undergoes the division by the separation of the recombined sister chromatid, and four haploid daughter cells are formed. Process of gamete production and the spore formation occurs by the meiosis. We have seen both the process in details. What are the gamete production and what are the spore formation? In this type of cell division, the four haploid, that is end daughter cells, are formed from one diploid, that is 2n cell. During this cell division, crossing over occurs between the homologous chromosomes and thereby genetic recombination occurs. Please mark these lines in your textbook also. During this cell division, that means in meiosis, crossing over occurs between the homologous chromosomes and thereby genetic recombination occurs. Due to this, all the four daughter cells are genetically different from parent cell and from each other. At the end, I'm going to ask you a question on this. So please mark it very important. Due to this, all the four daughter cells are genetically different from the parent cells and from each other too. They are because we have comparatively on a large scale and in a proper proportionate manner the genetic recombination and crossing over mechanism. So let us understand the next four phases of the meiosis 2. The Prophase 2 says the first stage in meiosis 2, highlighted by the disintegration of the nucleolus and nuclear envelope, the shortening and thickening of the chromatids, and the replication and movement of the centrosomes to the polar region. So here we have the disintegration of the cellular organelles, like disintegration, that means breaking of nucleolus, nuclear envelope, and shortening and thickening of the chromatid, that is the genetic material, and the replication, that means making the copies, and the movement of the centrosomes to the polar regions. Okay, polar region, that is towards the end. That happens in prophase. In metaphase 2, the chromosome line up individually along the metaphase plate. In anaphase 2, the sister chromatid separates and are pulled towards the opposite poles of the cell. In telophase 2, nuclear membrane form around each set of chromosomes and the chromosomes decondenses. Anaphase 2, the third stage in meiosis 2 after prophase 2. Okay, and highlights the separation of the sister chromatids of each chromosome towards the opposite end of the cell. Here, separation of sister chromatid. What happens in anaphase 2? The key words or the sentence important over here is a separation of sister chromatids of each chromosomes towards the opposite ends of the cell. Okay, this is important over here. Now the last part of the meiosis 2, that is telophase 2. During telophase 2, the fourth step of meiosis 2, the chromosomes reach opposite poles. Okay, see, you can see here the chromosomes reach to the opposite poles, and cytokinesis, that is where this happened in the cytoplasm, that starts that starts over there, that occurs, and two cells produced by the meiosis 1 divides to form four haploid daughter cells and nuclear envelope. Okay, so white in the diagram at the right form. Okay, that envelope is formed. You can see the breaking in a circular manner, that kind of envelope starts forming, which is white in color over there in diagram at the right side of the slide. And when the telophase 2 is over, the two cells are entirely separated and their nuclear membrane are fully formed. Meiosis is then complete. Okay, here you can see the prophase in mitosis, then prophase 1 in meiosis, and prophase 2 in meiosis 2. Okay, how these centrioles, then how the spindle fibers are formed. Okay, then we can see these blue and red colored homologous chromosome, the actions which are happening over there. The nuclear envelope you can see in the form of fragments in prophase 1 in meiosis, and in meiosis 2 and prophase 2 you can see the how these chromosomes are getting pulled up towards the end, right? And same kind the nuclear envelope, which is you can see in a white portion which is in the fragmented structure. Like that, metaphase in mitosis, meiosis, in metaphase in meiosis along with the plate of the cell. Here also similarly, but here you can see the site, the centromere with the kinetochore. Okay, so what do you mean by the kinetochore? Kinetochore, as we have explained you in our mitosis before this, kinetochore is nothing but a disc-shaped protein structure which is associated with the duplicated chromatids. Whatever is the duplication of the genetic materials is taking place over there. It's a disc-like protein, is a disc-like shaped protein we have which is associated with this. And similarly, you can say the metaphase 2 in meiosis 2. Like that, we have anaphase in mitosis. Then we have anaphase 1 in mitosis 1. Yeah. And anaphase 2 in mitosis 2. These are these chromosomes, these sister chromatids are moving apart from each other. As at the telophase, they will be exactly at their polar regions. Here you can see the telophase 1 and telophase 2. This we have already seen while discussing the telophase. Yeah. Now we'll see what is the difference between the prophase 1 and prophase 2. Prophase 1 is the beginning phase of the meiosis 1, while prophase 2 is the beginning phase of the meiosis 2, that we know. There is long interphase before the prophase 1, whereas prophase 2 occurs without an interphase. Interphase, that intermediate one of the stage, okay? The pair of the homologous chromosomes occur in the prophase 1, whereas such process cannot be seen in prophase 2. Okay, the homologous pair you can see in prophase 1, but here you cannot see. Then, difference between the metaphase 1 and metaphase 2. In metaphase 1, we have microtubules of one pole are attached to the kinetochore of one of the two chromosomes facing to the same pole. In metaphase 2, we have microtubules are attached to the kinetochores, okay, of the centromere on the either side of the single chromosome, only on either side, whereas which are one of the two chromosomes facing to the same pole in metaphase 1, but in metaphase 2 they are attached to the centromere on either side of the single chromosome. Anaphase 1 and anaphase 2. Anaphase 1 takes place during the meiosis 1. See the difference. Whereas anaphase 2 takes place during the meiosis 2. It occurs in the diploid cell, and anaphase 2 it occurs in the haploid cell. Two spindle fibers are attached to the centromere of each chromosome in the homologous pair. Two spindle fibers in anaphase 2 are attached to the same centromere of the single chromosome. Okay, this is in the attached to the chromosome of each chromosome in a homologous pair, but here they are attached to the same centromere. Again, anaphase 1 says not similar to the anaphase of the mitosis, but this is a similar to the anaphase of the mitosis, the anaphase 2. Whereas in anaphase 1, the homologous chromosomes are arranged in the cell equator, where in anaphase 2, the individual chromosomes are arranged in a plane which is rotated by 90 degrees relative to the anaphase 1. In anaphase 1, the chromosomes are present at the opposing poles at the end, whereas anaphase 2, we have sister chromatids are present at the opposing poles at the end. Telophase 1 and 2. During telophase 1, the movement of the separated homologous chromosome is completed to the opposite poles of the cell. That means completely pulled over towards the region, polar regions, that is towards the end, okay, of the cell, both the opposite ends. During telophase 2, the movement of the sister chromatid is completed to the opposite poles of the cell. Therefore, the main difference between the telophase 1 and 2 is the events which is occurring in each step. Yes, my next question is how daughter cells are genetically different from the parent cell. Mitosis creates the two identical daughter cells that each contain the same number of chromosomes as their parent cells. They are exactly the copies. But in contrast, in meiosis, it gives rise to the four unique daughter cells, which each of which has half the number of chromosomes as the parent cell. One more experiment is also given over there in our textbook. It is about the onion cells. Okay, we have to take the medium size onion and keep it in a conical flask filled with the water in such a way that the roots of the onion will be in contact with the water. Then observe the roots of the onion after 4 or 5 days. Cut the tip tip of some of the roots and put them in a watch glass. Okay, you have to take the sample. Pour some of the drops of the iodine in watch glass. This is one of the uh, ingredient you have to use, the agent you have to use. Take one of the root tip on the glass slide, press it with the help of the forceps. So this is the entire procedure over here given. Okay, where the main thing that we need to observe is how they look this mitosis under the microscope. This is important. See how these are the different phases that you can see the mitotic division in the onion root tip. Whatever we have discussed till now, you can see here. Yeah. Now some of my questions. Name the phases of meiosis 1. Those who know the answer, please raise your hand so madam will unmute you. Yes, my first question is name the phases of meiosis 1. Yes. Anyone?
Prophase 1, anaphase 1,
Tell
prophase
me in
1,
order.
anaphase 1,
Miss, पहले वाले
sorry,
का आंसर ये
yeah, miss, the phase,
One by
phase
one, please.
जब
meiosis
पहले
1 are,
पैराग्राफ मैम
Yes.
नहीं मैं बोलूँ आंसर
हाँ बोलो बोलो.
ये पहले पहले वाले का आंसर ये the carbohydrates
No,
the
no, 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 wrong answer. Name the phases of meiosis
can I,
1. Yes.
the names of the names of the processes of the national of the many
Beta, this is
can
wrong
I,
answer. Yes, yes. Next one.
prophase 1, prophase
Hmm.
1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1 and telophase 1.
Okay, understood. The first. Okay, for the second one, name the phases of meiosis 2.
Prophase
Yes.
2,
Ah,
metaphase 2, anaphase 2 and telophase 2.
okay, good. What are the haploid cells? What are the
Single
complete
set of chromosomes are
the
called,
machines the complete two sides of the
Teacher,
two
teacher,
Yes,
can I?
Anjali.
pairs
Yes,
the
Anjali.
machine one
Yes,
and
ma'am.
the machine two
Anchal.
in the
Ma'am, bolu.
Ha. Yes, Anjali.
Haploid is a quality of a cell or organism having a single set of chromosomes.
Hmm. Yes, this is important. The word important over here is a single set of chromosome that is called as a haploid cells. Yes, now my fourth question is how daughter cells are genetically different from the parent cell. Why genetically difference that you can see? Which are those two phenomenon that we have discussed? How daughter cells are
Ma'am,
different? Yes,
can I?
yes, you can try.
Mitosis create two identical daughter cells that each contain the same number of chromosomes as their parent cell. In contrast, meiosis give rise to four unique daughter cells, each of
Yes.
which has half the number of chromosomes as the parent cell.
Yeah, and what happens exactly in meiosis? For that, we have genetically different form of parent cells. Which two process, or we can say the phenomenon that you can observe in meiosis? What happens?
मैम वो क्रोमोसोम्स को हाफ कर देते हैं नंबर मतलब
Yes,
क्रोमोसोम्स का
exactly,
नंबर हाफ कर
exactly.
देते हैं
लेकिन कौन सा प्रोसेस होता है जो मैंने आपको बेसिक कंसेप्ट में समझाया था शुरुआत में?
फर्टिलाइजेशन
नो, वो तो बाद में होगा. That then it becomes a diploid. Why they are different? Try to remember, try to recollect. No, no problem, even though you give me a wrong answer. I will give you the correct one. Please try. Why it is happening? Why they are different? In mitosis, we have exactly identical to the parent cell. Others, please unmute yourself. Sorry, mute yourself, others. Those who are not answering right now. Mute yourself. Yes. So what is happening over there? Why that genetic difference is there? Yes, anyone? Something like, as I said, genetic recombination and crossing over mechanism. Okay, genetic recombination and crossing over mechanism. Because of that, on homologous chromosomes, we see the exchange of these similar types of genes. Okay, which is
Okay, ma'am.
yes, which is derived from the male gamete and female gametes. Okay, I mean from the male and female cells. Hmm? Okay, then that's it. Here we have finished with chapter number 2. Next time we'll see our next unit. Till then, happy studying.